Welcome back to the Million Dollar Landscaper podcast. If you have been listening to the last few episodes in order, you'll know that we've been talking about our R6 framework. It's a marketing framework, basically marketing systems, so you can get more leads, get your business out there. If you haven't been listening and you are just now hopping in, that's okay. You can always go back and listen to those episodes. But just to recap them real quick, the first R of the R6 was reliability.
Yeah, so reliability is really doing what you say you're going to do to the customer. It's showing up on time, cleaning up the job site at the end of the day, communicating with the customer what's going on, what's going to happen next, what happens when it rains. Those are the types of things. And it basically just allows that customer to know that they can count on you for whatever you say you're going to do.
Yeah, and I think real reliability goes right into the next R, which is reputation,
Yes.
because that reliability is what helps build a positive reputation.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. If you don't doing what you say you're going to do, you're not going to get a customer to want to give you a Google review, to talk about you to their friends and family. That's not what happens. So you have to have that reliability. Then you start building that reputation. And reputation involves getting, like I said, those Google reviews, asking for people to go on Facebook and talk about you, share their projects, share stuff, with their customers, their friends, family, whatever it is. I would even add into this reputation is actually where you go in and sharing photos of your work. So hopping into social media, your Google business profile, adding those videos, adding those photos of the work that you're actually doing.
Yeah, it's not only a good word of mouth reputation, but a good online reputation, because these are just facts. This day and age, a lot of people are looking online for things, especially contractors. It's like something like 83% of people are Googling before they hire a contractor. They are looking online. So you don't just want to have like this good word of mouth reputation. You want to also have a good online reputation.
Yep. And the next one is actually readiness. This is where those friends and family are recommending you to their business, and you're ready to start collecting information, to start handling those customers, and asking the right questions, pre-qualifying them, and you're just ready to start taking those jobs on. Because if you're not ready, you don't have the people, you don't have the equipment, you don't have a way to take that information from that customer, you're not ready for leads. And
Well, because every landscaper wants more leads, and that's fine. But if you start getting more leads, because it is that time of year where hopefully leads are going to start coming in pretty quick on their in the spring. Everybody's always like twiddling their thumbs, like, oh man, I hope they start coming in soon. And then it's always like, wham, they start coming in. But if you're not prepared to handle those leads, that can also cause a problem that's going to hurt that reputation of yours. If you do not have a systematic process for collecting their information and getting back to leads, then that is going to hurt your reputation, because they're going to be like, well, I called 3 times and nobody ever called me back. Or, they're like, they're calling me back now 3 weeks later. I've already, went with another landscaper by then. So being ready for that influx of leads is going to help you maintain a good reputation.
Yeah. The one thing I want to add to this is, to be ready, you have to have something on your website, whether it's a contact form that they fill out talking about the project and budget and all that great stuff. But also, one thing that we've been adding to websites is it's called a web chat feature. And I'm sure most of you have seen it on your websites. It's usually some kind of little icon down the bottoms or a pop-up thing that pops up and asks you to put information or ask questions and whatnot. Of the clients we've been putting this on their websites, it has actually been
it's outperforming just your regular contact us, like, contact us and people fill out the form. They're getting twice as many people that are filling out that little web chat to get a hold of the landscaper. So that's what we've been having really good results with.
Yeah, you have to be ready for that. And one thing I'll even add to, like Kitty's story about if you're not ready to take that information and you're taking a long time, I can attest this. I went to a fire department convention here in Indianapolis a couple weeks ago. We went and visited some people that we wanted to talk to for vendors and some equipment that we wanted to get information from. It's been a little bit of time, but I know from working these shows that you get an influx of customers, and it's going to take a little bit of time for you to get back to those customers in a timely manner. You're trying to reset, get all the equipment and everything you took out to the shows put away, blah blah blah. Well, the guy that I went with, he's like, man, I haven't heard back from any of these people. And me knowing how it is in this industry, sometimes it takes some time.
You know the amount of work that it
Yes.
takes to even go to one of these events, and the behind the scenes works. You're like, yeah, they're probably just, or who knows, they probably moved on to the next event. You don't even know, they could have had some booked back to back. You don't, but behind the scenes, there's a lot going on. But him as just like a regular person is like, oh man, they haven't even got back to me yet.
And it's been like less than a week. I was gone last week.
I think it was like last Thursday, Friday. Yeah. So it's been almost a week.
So it's not been crazy long time, but his brain's like, well, I guess they didn't want the work. They didn't want to hire, or they didn't want to sell us anything.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, they're probably just getting things put away. So again, that's what your customer is thinking. And I want you to realize
because they don't know. Yeah. They do not know what goes on behind the scenes. They have no idea.
So I just kind of want to share that with you, but that's what your customers are thinking.
We want to take a quick second to tell you about our friends over at Cycle CPA. I can't even express to you how important it is to have a good accountant on your side. You know you want accurate bookkeeping and financial statements every month. Instead, you're often left with limited time to focus on the accounting side of your business and no reports to show for it. At Cycle CPA, the landscaping accountants, they not only handle the bookkeeping, but also provide landscape industry benchmarking, job costing, financials by service line, advisory meetings, and much more. Cycle CPA has a team of landscaping accountants available to provide anything from bookkeeping to CFO services. Visit cyclecpa.com, and for $100 off, mention the Million Dollar Landscaper podcast.
Want to grow your business and get more customers fast? Then it's time to talk about pay-per-click advertising from Green Frog Web Design. With PPC, your business can appear right at the top of the search results, putting you in front of the customers who are already looking for your services. Whether it's landscaping, home improvement, or retail, Green Frog's expert team will create targeted, high-performing ad campaigns that deliver real results. No wasting money, no guessing games, just more leads and more sales. And the best part, Green Frog handles everything for you, from keyword research to ad design to optimization, so you can focus on what you do best, running your business. If you're ready to leap ahead of your competition, visit greenfrogwebdesign.com today or just click the link in the bio. Start driving traffic, generating leads, and growing your business like never before.
So the next thing we talked about was remarketing, and that comes into play because not everybody's ready to buy right now. Yeah. Often people are just, I know we use the word tire kickers a lot, but a lot of times, sometimes people are just kind of gathering information. And I get this, like I'm going to buy a new couch within the next probably 2 years. And so I'm already looking at couches, sitting on couches. I'm not ready to buy one yet, but I know I'm going to. And so it would be stupid of anyone, who works at the sofa store to just completely write me off as a customer, because I'm going to be a customer, but it's not today.
Yeah.
So, and so that remarketing comes into that. Like you need to, number one, keep in mind that not everybody's going to be ready to buy today, but then you also need to have a way to keep in contact with these people for when they are ready to buy.
Well, and I'll even add to that though. So when you are going out to visit a customer, you talk them on the phone, or they check out your website, doesn't matter. That first initial conversation, like you said, they may not be ready to buy. They're just, looking for information, trying to learn a bit more, see what it costs, get some ideas of different things. And so our job as a professional is to educate that customer and stay in front of that customer. And that's either emailing them, reaching out to them, phone calls, even ads and remarketing ads. But we're not just selling to them, we're educating them. And I actually saw this in a Facebook post the other day. Somebody was talking about doing lawn work, and they're tired of these people that are, fertilizing all the time and how it's not good for their lawn and all this stuff. So I responded back, and not knowing, they're with Bermuda grass. I'm not familiar with any of that stuff. I'm not sure how the grass
different
works.
Zone than we live in, anyhow, but whatever.
But I'm like, it's your job as a professional is to stay in front of that customer and to make sure they are aware when they're doing this is what happens, and it can cause the grass to mow or grow, and we have to mow it more often. And just our job, again, is to educate. And this is where we fall short. I see this happen all the time. We just go for the next customer, sell, sell, sell. They don't buy from us. We're on to the next customer, sell, sell, sell. And we're leaving behind all these people that reached out to us, gone to our website, and it really hurts you. So again, it is our job to educate. And this is where that remarketing comes.
Absolutely. Yeah. Cause back to the couch, like I keep seeing all these, I'm getting the ads now for ones that have covers that come off that you can wash.
Yep.
And I'm like hooked. I'm like, tell me all the information about these. Cause we have dogs, we foster dogs, and we have teenage children.
Yep.
So yeah, anything that I can
So,
put in the
yes.
washer, I want to know all about, but I want to know if it's good. I want to know if it washes up weird. I want to know how well, so I'm still in that information gathering phase because it is something that's new to me. I don't know about washing sofa. Like this is something that's completely new to me.
Yeah.
And so I'm in that information gathering phase, and your customers might be in that same phase. They are new to, looking into a big landscaping project. Maybe this is the first time they've even, hired a contractor for something that big. So they're like little sponges. They want all the information.
One other thing I know we talked about last week is this is where 2 blogs come into play, having some kind of information, or whether you call them blogs, articles, whatever, on your website that talk about what goes into building a wall. What does a retaining wall cost? What are water feature costs? What maintenance goes into these things?
Yeah. Go back and listen to the episode. It's all in there. Yeah, for sure. So today we're talking about reselling to past clients.
Yeah. So this is our 5th R in the R6 program. And this is where we really need to be thinking about our past customers. And again, this is something that we see many fall short. They're always on to the next customer and getting that new lead. Well, what about all the people that you've sold to already? Those people already know you. They know the quality work. They trust you. They like you. They like your crews. We don't reach out to them. We don't, and this is something I'm talking to a current customer right now. I want their email
list. Most landscapers do not reach back out to them, and you need to.
Yeah. And we're not always selling. And I don't want you to understand that I'm not saying we're sell all the time. Again, this is where the education comes into play, but are you reaching out to those people? They already know you, and you start sharing things that they didn't know they have to do their water feature, or that you are selling lights now. So you did the patio last year, now we want to sell lights to them. Do they know these types of things? Probably not. But again, we have to be reaching out to those past people that know, like, and trust you already.
Well, don't assume that your past customers know that you offer the other services that they might be interested in. Because I can't remember specifically, but I know we've talked to landscapers, and then, they have seen past clients that like had the lights put in after they had put in the patio. And they're like, what the heck, man, we do lights. Why didn't they call us? They probably just didn't know. But if you had some way of sending out like a newsletter, or had blog posts or something on your website that talked about all of the things that you do and let them know, then maybe they would have known, but they just didn't know. It was not a dig on you. It wasn't anything that had to do with your work. They just didn't know that you did it. And when their neighbors like, oh yeah, well, we had, XYZ company come and do lights, they were probably like, oh, shoot me their number, because I'd like some lights. And so you can't assume that people know what you do and do not do, because they don't know, because everybody's landscaping business is different. Like everybody's different.
Yeah. And again, like Katie said, I see this all the time in the forums and Facebook groups, especially for lawn care people. I see this a lot. They are known to the customer for being the one that goes out, mows the lawn, and maybe treats it or whatever, but they didn't know you install mulch. They didn't know you can redo the landscape and install patios. So again, you have to stay in front of your customers. And it's really simple when you start looking at it and thinking about it. I'm a huge fan of getting on the phone and talking to people. Now, however you want to do it, but you have to have some kind of communication. Again, I like to get on the phone and just check in with a customer and say, hey, Mrs. Smith, we did your patio, whatever, 6 months ago, last year, whatever it is. Just want to check in and see how things are going. You happy with everything? You like it?
And I never want to call anybody on the phone, but I'll happily send an email that's like, oh, hey, it's that time of year where, it's been 2 years since we did your patio. Hey, did you know that we also do like bed refreshes, lighting, and just list off things you do? Because I don't want to call anybody on the phone. But as long as you have some way of doing it, it's. Did you say it was easy? It's simple, but it's not always easy.
Well, correct. Yeah.
It's simple in concept, but not always so easy to execute, because people often have resistance to just cold calling up like you have done, or they have a little bit of resistance on like, I don't know what to say. I don't know how to write an email. I don't want to write an individual email to every single person. And it's just because they don't know about email systems that can send out bulk emails. And that's why we're here, because we're trying to educate you all on the fact that there are tools that you can use to make this all easier, because it doesn't need to be as hard as it used to be, because luckily we live in the age of technology where there are tools that can help you. Is that,
Yeah,
did I spit that out very not eloquently?
And I would say my dad was a master of this. If we ever started getting low on work and not having things, or it was raining for so long, couldn't do any major projects, my dad would simply just pick up the phone or go visit people and stop by, say hi.
He's a straight up hustler,
Oh, yeah.
wheeler and dealer hustler. Like when you think of the guy who's like the moving and the shaking and the calling, and I got a guy, like I will give your dad all the credit in the world for being a straight up hustler when it comes to that. And hats off to him, because I do not have that.
And this is where I kind of learned that skill, was just seeing him go out and interact. And again, I like the more personal, get on the phone. That's just me. Because I can read the tone and stuff like that and see, when I'm talking to them or visiting their site. And a good story here. We did a water feature for this person. Now, we took over this water feature from another landscape company that wasn't handling it properly, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter. But I built this relationship with the customer. I want to be out there talking to them, making sure the crew did their work. I literally sold them a fake rock to go over a wellhead, and then another one to go over his sewer cover for his septic tank cover. And it was just like literally just throwing it out there. And
because that is the good part of just doing phone conversations or in-person conversations, is because it seems like that's just something that organically came up because you were taking the time to have the conversation. Had you gone the Katie route of just like emailing, then that might not have come up. So there is definitely something to be said for just getting out there and talking in person.
And one thing too with this is when you are trying to resell the customer, like I said, I like to get on the phone. Katie would text.
And you can do both. I mean, we ain't saying it's one or the other. You can do both.
But you can email them and just let them know, like, hey, for your water feature, it's getting that time of year. It's hot out. We need to make sure we're adding the beneficial bacteria, whatever it is, that just are helpful reminders. Again, we're not always selling, but we're selling those helpful reminders. If they happen to need the bacteria, they can reach out to us. We'll deliver it to them or put it in for them, whatever. But just those simple reminders about this, or that, maybe it's time to pressure wash your patio and reseal it or resand it, whatever it is. Just those little things to make sure they know that these types of things need to be maintained, and here's how to do it. We can help you out if you need it. Again, not just being a slimy salesperson. You're just being helpful and you're educating the customer.
No, when I said your dad's a straight up hustler, I didn't mean it in a bad way, not like a slimy salesman way, but just in it. No, like he's out there getting it, like he's doing it.
And this is, and part of me, I struggle with this when I see other landscapers that don't do this. And I'm like, it's just simple, just get out there. But they struggle.
People don't know. And it's hard for some people to do that. Yeah, for sure.
But I always encourage people. And actually this morning, I came up with a referral program and stuff like that. Just so, these are little things you could do to, again, stay in front of your customers, but you have to do this type of thing. That's what I'm doing. I made a procedure to send out to our people. It's just a simple reminder, but this is what we're doing for our $1 million landscaper. It's just helpful reminders. But what are things you could do for your landscape business, your lawn care business?
Yes. Well, and if you've been listening to these episodes, we've been talking about marketing so much because we have created a branch of another business called Leadspeed. And it's where we're helping people implement these marketing systems and actually get all of this stuff done. Here's the tools. Here's how you can actually get all of this marketing done. And we've just been like soft launching. We don't even have ads running yet. We're just kind of trickling it out. But we have been mostly selling to our past customers because they're people that have already worked with us. They already know us. They're like, Scott and Katie are going to nail it. It's going to be fine. And so that's where we've started with our little soft launch of our new business. Just because we know that we have a relationship with these people. So that's where we started. We didn't start out with just like, we're going to plaster this all over Facebook and Google ads, because we aren't ready to take on that many clients yet. So this kind of goes back to that readiness. If we had started with just throwing ads out there, we would have very quickly got overwhelmed, because we are still trying to get a systematic onboarding process going. We're still smoothing out, like on the back end. Okay, what's Scott doing? What am I doing? What are we going to have an assistant do? So we're still figuring that out. So we aren't ready to take on too many leads yet, but we are reselling to our past clients in order to just get started, and so we can start getting the systems down and all of that. So there's just a little behind the scenes on what's going on here, but that's just another example of reselling that we know works.
Yeah. So one thing I'll say about the resale real quick is it is really underrated. Again, it's something that we are always looking for the next new lead, and those leads typically cost us money. your current customers, you've already built that relationship. They know, like, trust you. You simply just to send an email or a phone call, text, whatever it is. And it's way cheaper than those Facebook ads or Google ads.
It's a great place to start. Yeah, especially if it's the beginning of the season here. You don't have a lot of money coming in yet for ads and any kind of paid advertising or paid marketing.
Mm-hmm. Well, one thing, like just some ideas. If you're struggling, well, what can I resell to my current customers? Well, is there any add-ons that you can do? Like we mentioned earlier, landscape lighting. Landscape lighting is a pretty easy add-on, especially if you built this nice, beautiful patio. Let's throw some nice water or lights on there.
Side note, if you don't do landscape lighting, you can always subcontract it out to somebody else. You can sell it and then just have a subcontractor go in and do it.
Yep. Mulching, adding drip irrigation to plants, whatever it is.
Like Scott said, the fake rock. If you know somebody who's got a big old ugly wellhead in their front yard, well, because sometimes your wellhead's in your front yard or somewhere that it doesn't look the best. Sell the fake rock to cover it up.
Adding or selling maintenance packages. We did this a lot for water features. We'd sell a maintenance package that makes sure the algae's staying under control and the fish are healthy, the plants are healthy, all these things, and just they don't have to deal with it. Nobody wants to deal with these types of things.
Yeah.
So
Clean outs for ponds. That's disgusting. You come back smelling like dead frogs. It was gross. So there's a lot of I would pay to not have to smell like gross dead frogs.
If they're having parties, graduation parties, or anything like that, sell a party package where you come up, put annual flowers in, you clean up, put fresh mulch down, just make it look really nice.
Is this on your mind? Because that's what we're doing for our son. Our son graduates this year, so Scott's like, "What all are we doing for Nick's open house?"
Yeah. When you installed that patio, say for example last year, well, can you add a little fire pit off the side that you don't mess up anything you've done, but add that fire pit off the side of it somewhere? Just what can you do? There's always so many different things you can add on there. Again, I've talked about this before, but adding like the pop-up emitters that come off your downspouts, those are an easy upsell. I just
had a conversation with one of my friends because her yard, she kept calling it runoff, but their downspouts were just going right to the ground. They were going absolutely nowhere. And she's like, do we need to dig a French drain? Do I need to put in those intermittent the words are the dry creek beds, with rock and all this. I'm like, girl, no, you are making this way harder than it needs to be. I'm like, put in these pop-up emitters where you can run it away from the foundation. Because she was on a budget, they hadn't done anything because she thought they needed to do all these big expensive things. And I'm like, girl, no, get some pop-up emitters, run that away from your foundation and you'll be fine. Yeah, but she didn't know that option existed because she works in education, as does her husband. They are not in the landscaping world. So she literally had no idea.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just those little things. And every time you're on the job, you need to be scanning that property for other things that you can do. Even if you don't sell them right then and there, what can you do in the future and make a note of that?
Yeah, you don't have to be slimy about it. Yeah. Just be like, oh, hey, we noticed your downspouts were going straight to your foundation. Hey, we've got a quick, pretty inexpensive fix for that.
Yeah. If you do a lot of maintenance work, this is something I always told our crews. If you're out on a maintenance job and doing mowing and all that stuff, and you see a dead plant, you see a tree branches broke, you need to contact their office right away and let us know. And we'll contact that customer and try to sell them on a new plant or, getting that tree removed or whatever it is to make that property look nice. You have to be the eyes and ears while you're out there. And this is something we had to train our crews on to just keep that in mind all the time.
Yeah, because your crew's not going to think of it on their own. That's on you to train them to do that for sure.
Yeah. So I hope these tips really help you. And I encourage you guys to reach out. Just spend this week, reach out to 3 to 5 people and just reach out to past customers, check in with them. If you don't feel comfortable, trying to sell something, just check in, see how their project's going, how it looks, if they're happy with everything, if there's anything you need. And that's it. End of the conversation right there. This could be a 5-minute conversation.
Anyone, even I could make 3 phone calls.
Yeah.
I'd have to talk myself up to it, but I could do it.
Yeah. And once you start building the habit and you start seeing and you just start having these conversations, again, we're, staying in front of the current customers. They already know, like, and trust you. It should be an easy conversation with you. So just reach out to those customers and then start adding on these little things that, the little maintenance packages or add-ons to do these things. One thing I encourage you to do, and this is something I have to do myself, I have to put it in a calendar. So, you can say, I'm going to reach out to 3 customers this week. No, when and where are you going to do this? Am I going to do this in my office?
That's a very good tip. Just in general, with anything that you need to do that you're feeling resistance to do, or you're like, oh, I just keep forgetting, or if it just keeps slipping away. put it in your calendar under a very specific time and date, and hold yourself to that like it is an appointment.
Yep. Yep.
Don't let yourself off the hook.
And
you have to do it.
While you're on the phone with them, if you ask them how things are going, they're happy with everything. If they haven't left you a Google review, ask them for their review then. That's an easy one too. So just use these little tips to stay in front of your past customers, and I guarantee you'll start seeing more jobs coming in.
Yeah, I think that's good. I was trying to think if I had anything else to add. I think that's good.
Yeah.
I would just say keep an eye out for more about our new, like I said, we've got this newer business going called Leadspeed, where it's we're going to be doing the education to help you all even more with stuff like we talk about on the podcast of the tools that are out there to help you get this all done, because we realize that you're very busy. And so any way that you can automate this kind of stuff is even better.
And like I said, or Katie said, I don't remember who, if you guys haven't started the R6, listening to all these R6 episodes, I encourage you, go back, start from the beginning, because again, they all build on each other. And if you start jumping ahead to these types of things, you're not ready for this additional work. And it's a framework that you have to follow. We do it here ourselves in our new business. And
and we're not perfect at it.
No.
Like we said, that's why we're kind of soft launching, because we know that there's a learning curve to this and we have to work out the kinks. And yours is going to be the same way. And you have to be okay with just taking the time to be like, I'm going to maybe be kind of bad at this for a while, but I'm going to do it anyway, and be okay with working the kinks out while I go.
Yeah. And so the next R6 will be our final R6 is actually going to be reach.
Our next episode. Yeah.
Next episode is going to be talking about reach and ads and stuff like that. So make sure you guys stick around for that. And you guys have any thoughts about this? Anything that you are doing different? Let us know. Put a note in the comment section. We'd love to read those, and it helps us out too. So.
Yeah. And if you want to chat more about Leadspeed and how we can help you automate and get a lot of this set up using tools that are going to make it all a lot easier, check in the show notes. Leadspeed.io is our website. You can, I'm talking with my hands and hitting microphones. You can sign up for a strategy call there, and we can have conversations around everything that we're going to have available to help landscapers get seen and get even more leads online.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for joining us today, and we'll talk to you soon.